shout out to the mothers today as we record here live. Those of you streaming with us on YouTube or following us on the social medias or hopping on over to the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the chairshot.com. This is a Mother's Day edition of Bandwagon Nerds. I am joined by three men who also they love their mamas, to quote the great Bobby Boucher at the end of Waterboy. He loves his mama. At least I hope so. Like Dave, you love your mama, right?
I do love my
R.I.P.
mother. Yeah, R.I.P. Yeah, this is always a little bit of a bittersweet day to me. But I mean, yeah, like you're saying, I love my mom. My mom was a tremendously great woman. Miss her every day. But to those of you who still have your moms, this is your day.
You can also see over there to my upper left. I always am fascinated how the grid breaks out for everybody else. But it's Ray Cash on my upper left, looking very studious. It's like, welcome
Yeah.
to my library, mothers.
Well, first and foremost, as my tag says, shout out to your mama. Um, my, y'all still see me?
Yeah, we're just
Okay.
listening to
Yes,
you.
sir.
And then he froze.
Well,
Well, there you go. Yeah, we'll blame
there you
Dave.
go. I just sitting here.
I know, but you are bearing
You
the
lost me
brunt.
again?
I can't give. Yeah, we've lost something. Now you kind of came back. You're a little blurry. You froze like you were saying something very nice about moms, and then like all of a sudden it went a little south. That's okay. That's what technology
What about
does.
now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Happy Mother's Day, moms. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't know how this is gonna go. As y'all see, I'm at one of my mini jobs.
That's true. Well, let's Tony, did you do anything nice for your mother? Did you do breakfast? Are you gonna go see a movie? What you doing for Mother's Day?
See, she has four sisters, and they lost their mother when they were all younger. So they go out to breakfast together every
Hmm.
Mother's Day. So I did see her before that and gave her a card with $100 in it.
Oh wow.
Well, you see,
That's
Patrick, you should know about this though. Um, our birthday is right after Mother's Day, and
this is
I
true.
like I like great birthday presents. So great Mother's Day gifts are given.
How to Fund Your Birthday by one Commissioner Tunney. Um, Stick around for his TED Talk after the podcast, where he will help you monetize your birthday to no end. I had this
Yes.
fun generation gap conversation the other day with a bartender about birthdays at my local bowling alley because we were wrapping up our season. This bartender, she's very nice. Her name is Johanna. She's 26, and I'm sitting there. I was like, I don't understand. Like generally, generationally, I am in a different place when it comes to like my birthday and how it's celebrated. Like, I don't care too much about birthdays. Like, I don't need like Facebook is nice. It's good to hear from people, even if they do the obligatory just click the auto populated happy birthday message with three Facebook chosen emojis. Like if they do that, great. But like I've noticed younger generations and the way they like celebrate their birthdays, I just don't get. Like people who celebrate as if the entire week is for them, or some people who go as far as to say, "This is my birthday month. Worship me for a month." And I don't get you, younger generation. I don't, and I'm not faulting it. I just don't get it. Like I'll get plenty of people who say happy birthday. I'll be like, thanks, and that's fine. There will be
See,
no
I'm
gifts.
I'm along those lines too. I'm like, didn't you just have a birthday last year? What is it every year with this
Right,
shit?
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, and we're past most landmark big birthdays. Now we're of the age where the only landmark birthdays really are when you add a zero, like when the digit changes into zero. So in a couple of years, when I get to pretend to be Molly Shannon and yell I'm 50, like that'll be me, and that'll be fun and whatever. When I turned 40, I like many of my fellow sports fans presented the Mike Gundy, I'm a man, I'm 40 press conference where he yells at the reporter who had the audacity to question the young man's maturity. So yeah, it'll be fun. I'll get a card, probably a thing of coffee, a thing of Joffrey's coffee. Dave, that the official coffee of the Disney World resorts and the Disney resorts,
Mhm.
probably themed after Maleficent because she's my girl. She was wrong, y'all. Like, just should have invited her to the party, and she doesn't curse a baby to die. Like, I'm just saying, she
Yeah.
was misunderstood. But yeah, so happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I hope you're having wonderful times with your families and spending them with us. This is Bandwagon Nerds, of course. It is part of the Chairshot Radio Network here on thechairshot.com, where we remind you to always use your head. Make sure you head over to prowrestlingtees.com/thechairshot for all of your chair shot swag needs. We got some great stuff, including the Bandwagon Nerds t-shirt. There's the logo popping up for you, or the website popping up for you. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. We have,
thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
yay, sound this week. Heck yeah.
Patrick, it worked last week. We couldn't hear it, so the YouTube video has a bunch of random sound bites as I was trying to make it work.
Nice.
But the Chairshot Radio Network was my audio, so we're good. So it should be a fun little game you can play. Watch last week's YouTube version of Bandwagon Nerds 339 and drink every time we don't hear a soundbite that Tunney plays.
Because there were a lot, very much. We really thought we broke something there. It was a good time.
I take 1 week away, and it all just falls apart.
You know what? No excuses. If you were here for the podcast the way you should have been, why? I'm the part-timer, sir.
No, I know.
I'm the part-timer.
It's interesting, and Tunney knows this from the stuff we've done, that some of the stuff that you hear live does not transfer over to the final product, and you've got to actually go back in and do it. It's an odd thing, but it is what it is.
Right. Well, what also is what it is this episode of Bandwagon Nerds, because it's actually a pretty loaded episode. We got a robust trailer park. We've got the finale of Born Again Part 2 with a Part 3 being set up. We got the boys come in with a hot little episode. And then just some fun news around the nerdosphere, some things that I thought would be worth talking about from Eric Kripke, Joe Russo, Matt Reeves gave us a peek. I do love how I spelled Matt Reeves. By the way, in the rundown, I originally spelled it Reeves, and then I was like, oh, there's a typo, and I got rid of the V. And so on my rundown, not yours, it's like Matt Reeves. So we got that. We're also going to talk about the passing of an entertainment icon, because we can't not talk about the passing of Ted Turner. Before we get into what you're watching. So quite the rundown. Ray has been experiencing some technical difficulties. We'll see if he gets back on the stream. If he does, great. If he doesn't, well, we miss you, Ray. We had some conversation back and forth about Daredevil, so hoping he can make it back in, because I had it was interesting. Not contrasting views so much, but some thoughts about where things were going. But before we get into that, we have a 5-part trailer park, and since we know we can hear music, Tunney, we'll go with number 3 today.
No, 3's the bad one, I think, isn't it? Isn't that the one I picked a couple weeks ago? Yeah, 3's not. You told me never to do 3 again, Patrick. So
I'm 48 years old now. Like, I don't remember things. I'm a simple kid.
I'm not sure how popular that song could be from a band, actually, so we're just only going to play that much of it.
Right.
Was that from a real band?
Yeah, most of them are.
I got to tell you, Tony, I kind of bookended this week's trailer park thinking of you, and I hope you appreciate the thought that went into this. So the first thing that we got was not so much a trailer, but we did get another sort of peek behind the curtain of the upcoming HBO special coming to us from Larry David titled Life, Larry, and the Pursuit of Unhappiness. This time we learned former President Barack Obama is involved as a producer, I'm assuming, as part of this, but he is talking about working with Larry David. And we get this fun little interaction where Larry is like asking if he can add Barack to his contacts list. It's just very prototypical Larry David humor. And Obama being like, no, don't you have other friends? I think his emergency contact. That's what he's asking for, his emergency contact. And this conversation goes back and forth and ultimately then turns into him being like, well, I'm going to go ask Michelle. And Barack saying, good luck with that. Just kind of a wholesome, funny little interaction. I don't know what to make of this little limited run series, but I think with this brand of humor that Larry David tends to bring to his productions, this is going to be a fun one to watch. I'm going to go to our resident Larry David gift provider, the commissioner himself, PC Tony. That's you. Yeah, that's you.
Aren't they great?
They're great. What, like, I know when you're not interested in something because I'm going to get the.
This was a hilarious little,
it's like a minute and a half
preview. Yeah, like kind of cool little bit for the show. Can you be my? I figure if people see your name, they'll move with more urgency. It's only in an emergency though. And then what does he say? He's like, oh, fine, I'll ask Michelle. And Obama's like, good luck with that.
Right.
So if you like the Seinfeld, the Curb Your Enthusiasm, the Larry David meme humor, then I'm sure you'll like this show. It seems a little less history of the world than the first kind of trailer we saw for it or whatever teaser.
Right.
So I'm interested. I'm going to watch. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you all updated for sure.
Yeah, it's got my interest peaked a little bit as to how this approach will be. And as someone who's never been particularly a big fan of a lot of his popular stuff, like I hated Seinfeld. I'll share it. I do not like Seinfeld very much at all, which will be very interesting when we talk about future projects. But so could be fun banter. Ray, did you have a chance to check out Larry David chatting it up with our former president Barack Obama?
I did. So if you guys ever watched the show the Jerry Seinfeld show, Comedians in Cars Are Getting Coffee, he had an episode when President Obama was in the White House, and his reasoning was he was like he may not be a comedian, but he got comedian swag and he act like one, and that was very apparent in this video. Like the dude has a level of humor and timing that a lot of seasoned stand-ups take years to develop. He may not have the jokes, but he has the wit. And so to know that he's a part of this, a producer, and hopefully will be on screen from time to time, only furthers the fact that I'm interested in the show. I love Larry David. I think he may be one of the greatest comedic minds we've ever seen, at least in our lifetime. And I like the format. I love history and seeing history retold in a comedic way, especially like stuff nobody thinks about, like the very first one when it was like when the war was over and the St. Louis kissed the like. I just think that's genius, and so Larry David's the perfect guy to kind of play with that. So I'm definitely here for it. I think it's going to be really really cool, and it's levity. We need some levity right now. Laugh. I'm with it.
Right, very much so. Dave.
Yeah, I thought this trailer was really funny, and Barack Obama just kind of being Barack Obama and being the emergency contact and Barack basically saying, you called 911 because you had something in your eye. And he said, I couldn't get it out. Well, who was I
for an hour?
Yeah, for an hour. Who was I supposed to call? So, but yeah, I love that whole thing. Was I'll just ask Michelle, and Barack's like, yeah, good luck with that. So it looks good.
Yeah, the thing I appreciate about Larry David in these specials that he's been doing as of late, like this is a limited series, right? Like it's not going to be an ongoing thing. I do appreciate that we're going to get this burst of something, and we'll see what it'll be. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and that'll be the product, and then he'll move on to the next project. And Larry David always seems to be in motion when it comes to the next thing, but he is very intentional with the project he's working on before moving on to the next one. So I look forward to seeing that. Let's shift over to an actual movie, and I don't know if we covered this or not. This was an older, like this trailer wasn't older, but it seems like maybe this had been talked about before. But anytime I see the Benjamin Button of entertainment, also known as oh shit, I just forgot his name. Scott Lang.
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd, yes, the man who seems not to age. Drink. Not even talking about shows yet. Go ahead and drink, everybody.
All right.
I'm usually going to pay attention because again, he's a comedian that I enjoy as an actor. He's a comedic actor I enjoy. I love his very much like everyman sort of fish out of water kind of character. And in this film titled Power Ballad, he plays a dude who had big dreams of making it in a band when he was in his 20s. And here he is in his mid to late 40s as a wedding singer, just, going to all these different engagements, not making life until he ends up doing a wedding for some sort of celebrity or person. And he comes across a pop star played by a Jonas. Joe? Is it Joe Jonas?
I think
they all look alike.
Yeah.
So who they like sort of have this evening where they're hanging out, they're enjoying time, they're hanging out that night, they're like working on a song or working on music because the Jonas character is working on a new album. Paul Rudd's character has had this song that he's been working on, but he hasn't been talking to anybody about it. And he decides after building one night of trust with this Joe Jonas character to play this song. It's Nick Jonas. So wrong.
I had to look it up to make sure. Yeah,
Thank
Joe's
you.
the oldest one and Kevin's the young one, I think.
Right. There's too many Jonases out there. But anyway, so he's hanging out with Nick Jonas. They're bonding, and he decides to share this song that he's working on. And then lo and behold, sometime later, the Nick Jonas character has taken that song, stolen it, become super famous, and literally nobody believes Paul Rudd's character wrote or developed the song. And then it is all about Paul Rudd's character's quest to get credit for the song that he wrote. And I don't know, this looks like a perfectly fun, enjoyable comedy that is a kind of an underdog story that I appreciate, which is why I put it on the trailer park, because it's the kind of thing that I may not go to the theater to see it, but I'll certainly be hanging out on Netflix to watch this one because hey, Paul Rudd, a lot of fun. And I love music. I love stories behind music. If you ever want to hear me go off for an hour, ask me how I feel about Led Zeppelin and all the music they stole. But and Dave's nodding because he knows I'm right. They don't even pretend like they didn't. That's the best part. Jimmy Page has literally said, "Yeah, we totally stole music, absolutely, 100%." But this looks like a fun little movie and is kind of after an industry and something that I enjoy talking about as it is. So I will be checking it out. Dave, you're an old music head. Has anybody stolen any of your original music, and has it become a mega hit? And how did you get credit for that song?
Not a mega hit. Have people stolen things I've done and claimed it for themselves? Yes, thank you, YouTube. That has happened a few times. But this looks good. I mean, this has a kind of like the whole notion of stealing something and profiteering off of it has that Free Guy vibe to it, where Antoine steals the code and all that sort of stuff. So it feels a little bit like that. But yeah, this looks like it'll be good. Paul Rudd is kind of approaching. I'm not going to say national treasure because he's too young for that, but if he's in it, it's going to be good. Like you said, this looks fun. This looks like it'll be a fun little romp, and how these two guys kind of like reconcile this whole situation will be interesting. I'm like you, Pat. I'm not going to run right out to the movie theater and watch it, but with so much great stuff coming out on Netflix all the time, will I sit down and watch it one night? Probably. This looks worthy of your time.
Like, there's always a point in a Paul Rudd movie, by the way, where he hits his breaking point and leaps across the table to attack someone. And we got that moment.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm silently ceding the floor to you, sir, Mr. Tunney.
Mr. Tunney.
Not gonna probably watch this one.
Moving on to the next show that Tunney's not going to watch.
And don't take it personally, but I got to blow my nose.
So people have been wondering what was next for the Duffer Brothers post Stranger Things, and a trailer rolled out this weekend that one has people screaming it's Stranger Things with older people, which kinda. But it is a new series coming soon to Netflix titled The Burrows, and it stars. Here's why I'm all for this. Whether you are a fan of Stranger Things or not, I just want to read to you the cast of this series because it is a bonkers strong cast. Alfred Molina as Sam Cooper, Gina Davis as a character known as Renee, Alfred Woodard as Judy, Bill Pullman as a character named Jen. These all have first names, no last names. Clark Peters, Dennis O'Hare, Jenna Malone, Carlos Miranda, Seth Numerick, Alice Kremlenberg, with other people in recurring roles like Ed Begley Jr., Jane Kasmerick, Eric Edelston, Rafael Casal, Musa Hussein Quraish, Dee Wallace. This is a loaded cast for this series called Burrows, coming to us from the Duffer Brothers and many, many others. It's created by Jeffrey Addis and Will Matthews. And the basic premise of this story, Alfred Molina plays this senior citizen who seems to be getting moved into a retirement community. Not a home, though. Like, he's moving into a neighborhood. It actually reminds me very much of, like, Stepford Wives, right? Like, where you move into a neighborhood, and it's like this idyllic neighborhood for these retirees, senior citizens. Everybody on the surface appears very, very happy. But of course, with anything that has this kind of science fiction spin, and again, as an executive produced thing by the Duffer Brothers, and I want to be clear, executive produced does not mean that they're the creative mind behind it, but there is something supernatural going on behind the scenes. Is it a monster? Are they aliens? Is it? I don't think it's an interdimensional creature that has been messed with by Paul Reiser. I don't think that's it. But I liked Stranger Things. I loved the finale of Stranger Things. I trust this executive producer team. I look at this cast, and I remember when Gina Davis popped up, I was like, Gina Davis, how about that? I think I'm in. I think I am in on this Netflix series. It debuts in a couple weeks. I know it's not your bag, Tunney, so I don't know how you felt about the trailer itself. I know it's not something you're going to be checking out necessarily because I know that's not your part of the bandwagon. But I think it looks cool. I think it looks really intriguing.
I was hoping it was going to be more Euphoria and less Stranger Things, but that's fine. It's more Stranger Things than it is like The Villages, apparently, or comedically Del Boca Vista from your favorite show, Seinfeld, Patrick.
Sorry.
It's okay. You don't like Seinfeld, I don't like Scrubs. So it's even. It's not a big
There
deal.
you go.
We're still friends. We cheer for different sports teams. It's okay. It's okay. What you said though, I agree on two different points. One, the cast looks fucking stupid good. Like, if everybody's hollering and hooting and raving about this, then I might have to check it out, just because I've always said one of the best things you can do is put together a great cast for whatever project you're trying to work on. And then two, it looked like they just said, how else can we do Stranger Things? Oh, let's do it with old people. Even I got that, and I never watched Stranger Things. But I don't doubt that this is going to be really well done. I think it'll be well received. Am I going to watch it? Probably not. Sorry. Not sorry.
No, it's okay. This is less nostalgia fueled too. One of the things that I think was both kind of a double-edged sword with Stranger Things that I don't see here is the 1980s nostalgia fuel that the show runs off of. This doesn't have quite that. So, because it clearly appears that this is taking place in like 2026-ish, which I'm looking forward to. Dave, you like Stranger Things. I feel like this is one that you and I will be talking about at some point in the future.
Yeah, this one's it checks a lot of my boxes. I love Stranger Things.
Hey,
Hey,
it's not that kind of podcast. I mean, sometimes it's that kind of podcast.
It can be. It kind of is. It Stranger Things sexy time here? No.
Whoa! Hey!
Uh,
Whoa! No tentacles. We don't need any tentacles.
No, we don't. But I think it's got the Stranger Things vibe. The cast is ridiculously deep and awesome, and all that sort of stuff. Yes, thank you, buddy. And I think this seems like an alien amongst them sort of situation in this retirement complex. So that's obviously going to have me interested as well. So yeah, I think you're right, Pat. This one's going to be on my list of things to watch. If the reviews are remotely good, that I will definitely be checking this out. But yeah, I'm with you. This has a lot of things about it that are going to appeal to me and people like me. Tony, I'll make you watch it for Unidentified History. How about that?
What if it's not aliens though? What if it's just?
It could be interdimensional as well. I mean, there's obviously a certain presence in this.
It's a chupacabra. That's all it is.
It could be a
monster. That would be a little disappointing, but
Jackalope. Remember the jackalope?
Ooh, jackalopes, yeah.
Dino beavers, man. Let's get some dino beavers.
Okay. Yeah, so Stranger Things fans, I'd be on the lookout for this one. This one looks like it's going to be in your wheelhouse, and I think it'll be a fun time. This next trailer, we got our first true trailer for The Odyssey. And I put this one in for me. I love Christopher Nolan. I was really looking forward to this. After this trailer, I'm a little less excited about The Odyssey. So let me explain why. And I will admit fully that part of this is along with what a lot of folks are saying about this particular trailer and specifically language that has, I don't know. There's two things that people have talked about out of this trailer. So the trailer itself looks gorgeous because it's Christopher Nolan. Like the film looks beautiful. We get a ton of looks at characters and some of the creatures. Like we get a great look at the Cyclops, which is the creature that starts off the entire story of the Odyssey, because the Cyclops is the son of Poseidon, and Odysseus openly mocks Poseidon openly mocks the Cyclops, who then begs his father to punish Odysseus, and that's how he gets lost, is because Poseidon throws him into this monster lost thing. We get a look at Robert Pattinson as one of the suitors. We get a great look at Anne Hathaway as Penelope. We get a look at Charlize Theron as Callisto. We get a couple more looks at the Trojan War, which is the other thing that's kind of annoying me, is that there seems to be an awful lot of the Odyssey, the scope of the Odyssey. The Trojan horse is like a prologue. Like you need to talk about the Trojan War and the Trojan horse because Odysseus thinks of it, like he comes up with it. But in looking in this runtime, my first thing that has worried me is how much they have dedicated to showing footage from the Trojan War and the Trojan horse. How much of the
what's
film?
What's the runtime? How much is the runtime?
It's only like 2.5 hours. Like it's not. He said it's shorter than Oppenheimer. I remember that because that was one of the big things. But the Trojan horse, which is a very famous story that people know, yes, is something that's important. And maybe they're just showing all that footage because they don't want to show all the other stuff that Odysseus goes through in all of the various trials that ultimately ends up with all of his men dying and him alone, returning to the island while these suitors are trying to get Penelope to concede that Odysseus is dead, lost at sea, so that they can marry her and take his kingdom. Meanwhile, you have Tom Holland as Telemachus, his son, who goes on his own journey to prove that he is worthy of his father's throne. And the other part of this is the American accents. And I actually don't necessarily have a problem with the American accents, though I do think it's kind of funny to see Robert Pattinson dropping his American accent when like just let people talk. It's the slang.
I'm Batman.
Yes, it's the slang. It's Tom Holland being like, "My dad's coming back," and he'd be like, "No, your dad is not." Like those really took me out of my own preconceived notion, fair in whether fair or not fair, of how this should sound. It looks slick. It looks great. It looks like something that needs to be watched on an IMAX screen or bigger or whatever maximum sound you can get. But I am very uncertain as to how I actually feel about this film after this trailer. Either of you, Dave or Tony, either one of you can go.
I mean, I feel you, man. I really do. I think, like I agree with you that the scope of the movie, what Nolan's going to do with it cinematically, it's going to be tremendous. I don't think there's any of us who would sit there and say, oh, it's not going to deliver on that front. But yeah, I mean, when you're thinking of the Odyssey and you think of Homer and you think of ancient Greece, like you're right, a bunch of American accents from predominantly British actors makes no sense in the grand scheme of things. And then to kind of like, I'll just say it, almost like dumbing down the dialect for certain people a little bit, right? And that's not what, that's not what I have in mind for the Odyssey. Certainly not what Homer would have in mind for his epic poem. So I do.
Well, it wouldn't have been in English. That's
well, that's it'd like be in ancient Greek, right? Ancient
Greek. Right. Latin.
Yeah, but I think it's a valid point. You've got to keep a movie like that's going to be this grand in scope. Like I don't understand why Nolan would go in this direction where the dialogue is super simplified.
What dialect would you want them to use? Old English?
Not old English, but more proper English, I think, is what I'd be looking for.
I think that's the big thing for me. It's little things like, again, it's just it's the use of slang. Like, here, I'll be honest. If Tom Holland says my father's coming back,
yeah,
I'm fine. Yeah. Like I know that's silly, right? Like that's such a silly like thing to just sort of drill down on a little bit, but it's jarring, and it reminds me very much of you talk about American accents like Tom Holland. I'm like, oh, he's using his Spider-Man accent, his Peter Parker accent, like
a Marvel DC crossover you never thought you'd get.
You're right, exactly. Batman,
but I think you're
Spider-Man.
The thing is, yeah, you do need. I think for a movie like this, you need a bit more formality than they're getting in the trailer, and maybe it's just a little bit of the trailer, and the rest of the movie is much more in line with what you're expecting. But yeah, I kind of thought the same thing. It's like, man, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't feel right. But I think it's still going to be a movie I'm going to go see because. What are you laughing?
I think he's asleep.
No, I'm just exploring different dialects. That would be hilarious. Like if they went Old West. I do reckon my pappy be coming home soon, y'all.
No,
that boy. Oh, could you imagine? Could you? Oh,
Odyssey in the Old West.
You actually just did imagine. My bad.
Yeah, that would. That might be worth watching. I mean, I would tune in for that. But
Tony, am I overreacting here? Like, am I being foolish, or is this a playlist thing, as Greg DeMarco would put it? Listen to the Greg DeMarco show on occasional Wednesdays.
It's funny though. We brought it. We kind of asked the question out loud to ourselves, and we didn't really come up with anything except for more proper English. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's a discussion they had, and we're like, well, maybe the best thing is just to do regular modern day English and have it look epic and have everybody be able to relate to it right now. That's the best guesstimate reasoning I can use
like
for it.
You're saying like an accessibility sort of thing. Let's make it more accessible to more people because they'll be able to relate to it.
You could have maybe the younger generation turned off by not hearing dialect.
As long as nobody says, "Hey, bro, my daddy's coming home,"
6'7", 6'7",
6'7", fog.
I was more concerned they'd be in like text speak, like, "Oh shit, FR, yo," like for real. Let's we'll have to see. I'm probably going to go see this because
let that Trojan horse in, YOLO, baby.
Yeah, the English major in me, like, anybody who ever pursued a degree in language arts had to read the Iliad and the Odyssey at some point, and likely also had to read. Oh God, I'm going to forget the third one. There's a third epic that wasn't written by Homer that talks about the founding of Rome, but God, and I'm going to remember it after this is over, because at the end of my favorite, by the way, my favorite sort of Greek epic story that has been translated to film is Troy. Like I still love Troy with Brad Pitt and Eric Bana and Brad Pitt's terrible British accent, but like Eric Bana is fucking awesome in that movie, and I cannot for the life of me remember the third epic that tells the story of the people of Troy fleeing and founding Rome. But that's for a different conversation. Let's do a different sort.
Virgil's Aeneid?
The Aeneid, that's what
Aeneid,
it is.
Virgil's
because it follows the story of Aeneas. Aeneas is given the sword of Troy, and he then leads the people of Troy to found Rome. Thank you, Tony, for effort.
I fell on my own sword with the mispronunciation to get
I thought for
sure,
people. Pat, I thought for sure you were going to say the story that resonated with you the most about, all the Greek stuff translated to film was going to be Clash of the Titans, but I guess not.
No, like with the epics, like in those ancient epics. And by the way, back in the 90s when NBC used to crank out those like mini series, there's an Armand Assante led TV film version of the Odyssey that is better than it has any right to be. Just throwing it out there. Pretty good film. Let's head into our last trailer, and this is one that caught me by surprise with how interested I am in it. It's titled Tony, and it is a sort of a fictionalized telling of the early life of Anthony Bourdain. This is a film that is supported by Bourdain's estate, so this is 100% approved. This isn't some unauthorized telling, and it is a look into Anthony Bourdain's early life. Looks like working in like Cape Cod or in that area, where he is a writer, as he started as a journalist, who does not get a fellowship that he's expecting. We see that he has a rough childhood life, something that Bourdain was very open about in talking about, if you ever saw interviews with him or read anything that he wrote, but talks about this chef kind of taking him under his wing, played in this film by Antonio Banderas, and this early period in Anthony Bourdain's life. And so the film looks really, really interesting. It's made by A24, so take that with what you will. That's usually a quality film. Anthony Bourdain is a fascinating human being, and somebody that I always found very interesting in just the way that he wanted to immerse himself and experience cultures through food, particularly later in life, and to lose him, not even later in life, just like all over the place, but to lose him as early as he did, it felt like a crime, and a tragedy. Yet here we are, and this is kind of the first film about his life and legacy that we're seeing, and I would assume that we're not done yet. So, just any thoughts on Anthony Bourdain, and in particular this film titled Tony? I think it looks pretty good. Don't all talk at once.
No, I mean, like you're saying, it's an A24 movie about a fascinating human being, and that sort of thing. And I think I don't know a ton about his story, but I think, just looking at the trailer, I was immediately interested in what's going on and just kind of his journey towards where he goes, where he ends up, and how he gets there. Is always, I don't know, Tony, this kind of, there are elements of this that kind of felt like The Bear-ish to me a little bit. I mean, maybe it's just the cooking aspect of things, but, he has the same struggles that Jeremy Allen White's character has, at least sort of. It felt that way a little bit. But It's an A24 movie, so it immediately jumps high up on my list of things to watch. It doesn't necessarily appeal with my prime interest, that sort of thing. But if if it's A24 and it's a fascinating personality, it's going to be a good movie.
So I like Anthony Bourdain. I've watched most of his stuff, cooking wise and travel, like culture wise. Um, Parts Unknown is like an epic like food and travel series that Gordon Ramsay took over. If you want to see a movie about more about like a real life telling of it, check out Roadrunner. It's a film about Anthony Bourdain. He's done a lot of great stuff. Top Chef, The Taste, etc. Wasted was a really good thing he did too. A lot of good books, but the guy just had this dark piece of him that he couldn't get rid of. It was really sad end to his life. Dominic Sessa is playing him, and we know him. Do you remember where you remember him from? Anybody? The Holdovers. He was in that Paul Giamatti movie, The Holdovers. But yeah, this looks good. I don't know that I'll watch it necessarily. I'm not huge on the, you know, biopics. Yeah. Especially when there's so much content, I can just watch Anthony Bourdain in. But it looks good, and I was surprised to see Antonio Banderas in there.
Yeah, I was too. Throwing the bucket of water on him in the hammock because he wasn't waking up on time. Oh, very, very, very interesting stuff. So, all right, let's get into the guts of why I titled our rundown "Womp Womp," and that is because both of our shows that we're going to talk about today had womp womp moments that made me smile. And we're going to start with Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Part 2, as I've been calling it, the finale. The womp womp is we go through everything and Daredevil's in jail and the Kingpin goes free.
Yeah.
Womp womp. Like, and it's necessary. I'm not mad about it. I want to be clear. I'm not mad about it. We're about to get the Devil in Block D as a third act to this series. So the womp womp is emotionally like Daredevil, basically Matt Murdock sacrificing his freedom to save the woman he loves from going to jail, exposing the Kingpin for who he is, getting him removed from the mayor's office. But it was a womp womp moment. It was like, oh man, you did all this and womp womp, you're in jail. But it's going to be a great storyline for season 3. Like 100%. If you look up the Devil in Block D on your Wikipedia page as kids and just check out that storyline, as there's a lot of people who don't like Matt Murdock and now know he's Daredevil because we got a dramatic courtroom scene to start this episode in the first half where he finally pulls out all the evidence that he has showing that Kingpin was responsible for the ship going down that was illegally transporting weapons. He then pulls out the last card that he has that Daredevil was on that ship but not responsible for sinking the ship. And the only person who can corroborate that is Daredevil himself. And so Matt Murdock announces in the court of law dramatically, and Dave Lawyer, I'm sure there's a lot of problems with the way that went down, but it makes for good television.
I mean,
for him to be like, I'm Daredevil, and boom.
From the lawyer standpoint, what Matt did was brilliant because he trapped Kingpin in there. He trapped him into the port where he set the foundation, because you heard the other lawyer, the DA, for the guy for the DA, objecting about foundation and stuff. So Matt laid the foundation and he trapped Kingpin. It's like, so the only person who can corroborate this is Daredevil. Yeah. And then when he comes out and says, well, I'm Daredevil, then it's like, you're screwed. You basically boxed yourself into this. And he did it in a way that even the judges who were on the take had to honor their judiciary oaths and everything that they take, and had to start.
Only that happened in the real life. Anyway,
yeah.
Okay.
Right. But
sorry.
No, I thought
that guy today.
I thought what he did to set that up was brilliant. It was a great strategy, and he just locked Wilson Fisk into this position where there's no way out. But I think Wilson just, Kingpin, he didn't think that Matt would go that far. He didn't think that he's not going to out himself in front of all these people. He'll expose himself and all this. But he didn't realize how far Matt was willing to go to protect Karen and the people he cared about most.
The judges were a lot more receptive, though, after the anti-vigilante task force surrounded them, made them realize exactly the situation they were in, and then they were more receptive to Matt Murdock once Jessica Jones and the governor came in. I believe they're like, okay, someone higher up has our back. It's hilarious, though. We talk about things being about or not being about, like actually in court, and Kingpin comes in and he just gives his speech right away. He's like, he doesn't wait for anything, Dave. He just that would ever happen. Like, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yeah. You sit down and then you start talking.
I told my wife, I said, was there a question pending? I didn't hear a question pending, and nobody asked a question.
Right. It was a lot of fun. And so that is going on in the courtroom. Meanwhile, outside of the courtroom, we see Bibi reveal herself. Rallying the troops. You saw Jessica Jones, and you talked about it, Tunney, with the governor walk in. We see Bullseye, because there was an assassination attempt that was going to be set up to make it look like Bullseye, and we don't know who the target was. Did they ever disclose?
I think they were going to shoot Matt. I think they were going to kill Matt.
Was Matt was the target? Yeah. And the real Bullseye's like, fuck that, and wipes out everyone, which then freaks out about. They're like, the real Bullseye's here. Oh shit. Yeah. And we get this like V for Vendetta rallying of the people. Once the Kingpin is exposed, he refuses to take a call from the Attorney General. He then puts himself literally locks himself in the courtroom while Matt and Karen and the governor and Jessica, they all go to the judge's chambers. Or they go to a different room. They're in a different spot. Somehow they get out. They know they can't leave because the task force is basically holding everybody hostage inside while Kingpin is like, kill Matt Murdock, kill this guy. Because finally the mask is off. He's done playing being mayor. He's done. He's refusing to negotiate. There's some other big breakdown moments. I forgot her name again. She's going to be Lady Muse in season 2. In part 3, Heather, which yes, Heather Glenn, I do Dr. have to Glenn. Say, because Ray complimented, he's like, oh, you called that. It was like, no, there was leaked set footage that showed her in the costume. So that was revealed. I did not predict that. But so we get this, Dave, I'm sure, Tunney, you've seen V for Vendetta. Yes. Tunney, have you seen it? When they're all putting the Daredevil masks on and they are walking up on the building and daring them to stop him. The good guy cop who we thought would kill what's-his-nuts, he knocks him out, does not kill him. He's now in prison with our buddy Matt Murdock, so that'll be good. But they make way, they let the people in, they start to storm the courthouse. The Kingpin is refusing to make it. He's going to fight his way out of it. And this is the violent, uncontrolled Kingpin I have been waiting to see. When he breaks the dude's back over the corner of a hallway, that people don't understand. I don't think sometimes the Kingpin is so dangerous when he's violent. And it's why I love him as a villain, because when he's in control, you want him in control of himself and whatever his empire is. It's when he's lost it and he has nothing, his wife is dead, his mayorship is gone, his empire is gone. All he has left is revenge. And he killed some motherfuckers.
He really did.
It's beautiful. And then, was it beautiful?
Poetically beautiful?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want you. Nobody. The mayors around the world don't kill your people. That's bad. But as a character, and who he is, it's the best part.
It's the natural progression of the Kingpin character at this point. This is where he's supposed to be. This unhinged. Vanessa's gone, like you're saying. There's not a lot to live for, and you can tell. You feel that from him in the moment where he just says, "Fuck it." And he goes and just takes out everybody who's coming at him is like, I don't care anymore. Let's take our own masks off. Everybody, a lot of talk about masks in the entire series, and Wilson removes his in this last scene and just takes out everybody.
And then we get that moment, and then we get that scene in the lobby of the courtroom where he's standing atop the stairwell, and all the folks that he hasn't wiped out yet start to swarm him, and Jessica and Matt actually save him from being murdered by those, like being killed by the citizenry. And it's that moment where the two of them, he's like, "Look, we've both lost here. Like, neither of us has won. Like take the deal." And that's when he finally takes the call from the Attorney General. And the last image we get of the Kingpin in this season is him standing on a beach, looking out on an ocean, thinking back to times with Vanessa.
See, now one would argue that he ended up in his own prison, right? Like he doesn't.
Oh
have
yeah, because he
Vanessa.
can't come back to New York.
The only thing he had left was his city, and now he's gone. He's sitting there with nothing. He's not like the dude from Office Space. I'll be on the beach sipping my tides, give me my stapler.
There was no salt on the rim, and I specifically asked for more salt.
Excuse me, sir. I asked for a rim job.
You won't be getting it.
Hold on. Wait, what?
So a couple other big moments for me in the wake of this season that was great. We do finally get the reveal of Luke Cage. Luke Cage now back in probably the moment of the series for me and caused me to pop. Not Luke Cage showing up, but Jessica shutting the door of her office and Alias Investigations being back.
Yeah.
I think like that seems to be heavily implied. Clearly, she and Luke are now in a relationship. I talked about this. This is the kind of the back and forth Ray had. I talked about this earlier when we got the revealing of Jessica's daughter, and that it was Jessica and Luke's child. I expressed a little disappointment in the way that was revealed. Not because I'm disappointed that the characters are there or that, I just wanted to see the relationship happen. Like, I'm fine that I get it happened off camera. And I just think it's interesting the way the MCU chose to develop it. And, and Ray was like, I wasn't down on the relationship. And I think Ray may have interpreted, and he's not, unfortunately, his technical issues have kind of kept him from it. Like, I didn't like that's the payoff that we got for those two within their relationship. I really would have loved to have seen, because when we leave Netflix, however long ago, Luke Cage is running Harlem. He and Jessica had a one-night stand, but that was really it. They weren't connected yet. I just would have loved to have seen the shows that got us to that. But what we do learn is that he's no longer beholden to Matthew Lillard, because he found a new guy, and actually probably a better guy for what they want to do. And Ray made a good point. This is probably leading to a Dark Avengers, as Bullseye is Dark Hawkeye in the Dark Avengers series. So that could be fun as well. Dave, you've given some emphatic nods here, so I'll let you jump in next, and then we'll roll to Tony.
Yeah, like and I don't remember. I know like Luke Cage ended with him running Harlem, and I don't recall Jessica Jones season 3 making any sort of allusion to her and Luke Cage being together. I mean, obviously that's a big thing in the comics, so maybe
Ray made a good point when we were talking about it. Like, that was 11 years ago now at this point, right? Like, it's forever. So sure, it absolutely makes sense that they could have gotten together. I just wanted to see it.
Well, and maybe we get some flashbacks to them for Daredevil Born Again season 3, since we know it's going to be Defenders heavy, and where they're going to bring back Danny Rand and all that. So maybe we get some sort of backstory there. I know you're thrilled about that, but no,
I just think that guy was terrible as Danny Rand. Finn, what's his name?
Yeah, I think the idea of Luke coming back and setting up the Defenders for season 3 is important. And then, like you're saying, it sure looks like we're heading towards a Dark Avengers sort of story arc with Bullseye sitting there on the plane, and it's interesting that his taking Luke's place is what enabled Luke to get back to his family. So I thought it was a hell of a season finale. I mean, just a hell of a season finale. So much stuff going on, and just could not have asked for much more than that, except maybe a Spider-Man appearance at the end would have been kind of cool.
Stop it. No. And then Dr. Glenn taking off her mask and showing who she is going to be, because the
Yeah,
joy she felt in putting on the Muse mask.
Yeah, exactly. And looking through the Muse mask and seeing herself without the mask reflecting back at her. Looks like Buck survived, that sort of thing. He got shot in the stomach, but he's
Mother
okay.
Bucker.
Mother Bucker. So yeah, I
Uncle
thought
Buck?
I thought it was a excellent finale.
Tony, what did you think on this finale?
No, it's really good. It makes you ask a lot of the right questions for next season, right? Daredevil's on the inside, so who's going to be doing the majority of the heavy lifting? Enter Luke Cage. I mean, I would imagine you're going to see him and that couple working hard to keep things going the right way. But it's going to be interesting. A lot of the struggle is going to come on the inside, like we've seen the anti-vigilante task force. Basically, the whole fucking thing is in prison with Daredevil. So it's like, gee, I wonder who's going to bother him there.
Hey, Pat, are we going to get a Rorschach moment? I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me sort of situation.
We'll see how that goes. But yes, that's definitely going to be a significant hurdle for Matt in that season, it would seem. Here's the other thing to think about. Now, I'm going to say this, but I'm not predicting this. So, or predicting anything. But come Tuesday, another show is hitting Disney Plus, a movie, Punisher. I don't think it's going to connect to Daredevil, but it wouldn't surprise me if they at the very least acknowledge what happened to Matt and Matt being in prison.
That's a bold prediction, Cotton.
I don't know that it's a bold prediction. I think it's a very nuanced and reasonable prediction.
Just trying to steal a line from Dodgeball.
We'll see how it works out for me, though. All right.
Could Frank end up in prison with Matt and set that whole thing off?
Maybe. And I'm forgetting what the Punisher. I can't remember what the subtitle is for that Punisher movie. And it's a movie too, right? It's not a series. It's just this one shot that looks like it's a full length, feature length movie about a time. Like it's not.
We're all going to watch it this week anyway, so
probably we'll probably talk about it next week. And
the Punisher, One Last Kill.
Yeah,
right.
That's what it is. One Last Kill.
So, yeah, and the series itself, or the trailers have really focused on Frank's ghost from his past, people talking. So we'll have to see what happens there. But it would be an interesting. Because Frank Castle straddles a couple of different characters that people are chopping at the bit to know more about. And he's coming post one that he's connected to and pre another that he's been shown in a trailer for. So it's like, what is this? Where does this fit? Is it just a one shot? What's happening and how do we move forward with that character? But I got to say, I was so worried when Disney took over Daredevil about how it's going to be, and I think it's been unapologetically a home run for Disney and the MCU in this street level thing. And one of the things I think is important for folks to know, the showrunner has said very clearly that, and this is Disney is in agreement, Matt Murdock's priority is Matt Murdock in Daredevil and Hell's Kitchen. So those of you who think Daredevil and the Avengers, you can hope, and if he shows up, enjoy the surprise. Don't expect him to be, this big part in our upcoming Avengers films. Either Doomsday or Secret
Wars. Yeah, maybe by the time we get to Secret Wars, he'll have a bigger role, but I don't think you see him in Doomsday at all. It just doesn't matter.
60 minutes.
But yeah, but like by the time we get to Secret Wars, which is December of 2027, you'll have the season 3 of Daredevil Born Again. So maybe you resolve some things and that opens the door for him that way. But yeah, it's just a great season. And you're absolutely right. I think one thing Disney did that was really smart about this whole thing is they did not try to steer away from the Netflix series. They openly embraced it and implemented so many aspects of it. And that made a big difference. I mean, that really helped the whole series move along.
It has been great. The dogs agree. Thanks, dogs. All right. Tony, any last thoughts before I turn it over to you to play our first commercial break?
I think we're good. It was a great series.
All right,
I'm glad we're
I
watching.
would assume we're all in agreement that we're going to watch Punisher and talk about it next week. Thumbs up. I'm seeing that. Season 2, Part 2, bandwagon approved. Good job, Disney Plus. All right, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to do.
Why should you visit thechairshot.com?
Oops.
We're going to do our conversation about The Boys and this episode, explosive episode. So stick around for that for part 2 of our Womp Womp conversation. You're listening to Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of thechairshot.com.
Why should you visit thechairshot.com? Thechairshot.com is your home for hard-hitting reviews, news, opinion, and analysis with attitude. Why? Because you're smarter than the average fan. Thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
I got a mother right here, guys. I'm just gonna throw that out there. There's a mother for Mother's Day.
Mrs. Attitude.
Mrs. Attitude.
Attitude.
How are you
How we
doing?
doing?
Happy Mother's Day.
We're
Happy-
busy
everybody
telling
says
Dave
happy
how wrong
Mother's
he is about everything.
Yeah, they're telling me I'm wrong about everything, but not really.
As he is.
Wow.
Just except you. They give me credit for you. That's
Okay.
about
A
it.
home run there. But it's like
A home
when it comes
run.
to-
Patrick said a home
Completely
run.
outkicked your
thank
coverage.
you.
I totally
Right.
outkicked my coverage, Tony. Absolutely.
Oh, look at you. I had this thought, Tony. So you said we couldn't hear sound bites as they were playing. Does that mean that our great moments where we were doing the commercial in conversation last week
I'm not sure.
showed up
So what's crazy? What just actually
during
happened?
during
What
the
actually just
show?
happened too now is Dave? Did you hear the commercial that just played?
I did.
So I currently cannot hear any of the sound, but you two can. So it means it's going through. So
Well,
it's just a fun
nailed
little
it.
thing that
there's
happens here.
something about Riverside that depends on the headphones you use as well.
Oh, that sounds like a
that
great
I've
conversation
noticed.
to have outside of
That's true.
the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Only I get to pull the curtain back, and then when I do it, Tony gets to give me a disapproving face about how I didn't have to talk about it. That's how it is.
Breaking the
like-
fourth wall.
I guess
That's
that was,
right.
I guess I was being a little hypocritical there.
Nah, it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, so welcome back. You're listening to Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of thechairshot.com. We remind you to always use your head.
Oh,
I thought you were
do that again.
Well,
We did
you,
that at the
you moved
beginning
your
of the show.
hand. You moved your hand, so I thought you were. I didn't
no,
realize
was
you were
going to
sharing the
pro- I
link.
thought you were going into. Yeah, I thought.
I was. I didn't know.
We're- yeah.
We are crossed up today, man. We
It's,
are not on sync.
Well, we're both getting old real fast
true.
here in the next
true.
week. So
That's right. Make sure you head over to prowrestlingtees.com
Damn
/the
kids.
chair shot for all of your chair shot.
shut up,
needs,
Dave. It's our
chair shot
birthday week. You
swag
got to be
needs.
nice to us.
Again, my birthday is not yet.
Oh, but
If you celebrate your birthday week, yeah.
I
kudos.
don't celebrate it at all. I was just trying to make Dave be nice to us. That's all.
It's weird. I kind of just want a stack of pancakes for breakfast on my birthday. That's it.
You know, DP, we went on a golf trip and he always orders pancakes and gets like the biggest plate. So we call them Dan cakes.
Nice, very good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's everything. All right, let's get. You know what? We're going to our next show, part 2 of Womp Womp. So last week on this program, as Mr. Tunney and I were conversing about The Boys and what had happened there, Mr. Tunney had made a prediction that Soldier Boy was going to not give V1 to Homelander, that he would betray him in a penultimate moment, thus leading to Homelander's death. Well,
Is that what
womp womp.
I
You
predicted
did.
that? Oh,
You did.
shit.
You were like, what if I think Soldier Boy is going to turn on him? And instead,
Well,
no, their love for the
maybe-
Nazi Stormfront.
Maybe he kind of did though. Maybe he knows more than we do.
Well, so the mission to get V1 is continuing here. The race to find bomb site is what's happening here, which it took me forever to realize that the guy playing him was in Stranger Things. He was the asshole football player in the last season of Stranger Things, Dave, that was like that unnecessary like character that just
yeah.
picked on. Yeah, you remember him like with his
Yeah.
Letterman jacket. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, there he is. But anyway, so both the boys and Homelander are trying to figure out how to track down Bombsight. We had an episode last week where we got to look at a lot of other of the characters that are sort of caught up in this, like the side character sort of stuff. Sister Sage, the dog, oh,
Terror.
which is still Terror was one of my favorites. You get Black Noir, R.I.P. More on that in a minute. Which fuck that.
Are we going to get another Black Noir before the end of the season?
No.
Are you sure? No one discovered him, right? In the episode, no one else knows.
True.
Right. Nobody knows.
It'd be hilarious if the Deep had to like coach some idiot that's more idiot than him to be Black Noir. That would be like Patrick's grinning already at the premise.
It'd be funny. This is where the comic book fan in me is kind of annoyed because one of my favorite twists of the comic is that Black Noir is a Homelander clone, and we got none of that. We got this bro fight that I will say, like, was fascinating. That the Deep has to go on to promote this pipeline to get people behind it to help. So he does that, and then Black Noir, who's still mad about the Deep murdering that director from the previous episode with the eel up the ass, he's the one who causes the oil spill that kills all these fish. And a moment that had me laughing out loud as the Deep's lungs are cleaned out, he sees a fish dying. I can't remember the fish's name. And the fish is like, Jeremy. And the fish is like, we know what you did before dying. That fucking crap.
He calls him by name, Kevin.
Kevin, we know what you did, Kevin. And he dies. And it's fucking hilarious. And you talk about a moment of levity and kind of a race against time. I mean, there was also a dude fighting with his nutsack in this episode in the senior home. So anyway, so Homelander and Soldier Boy are working in one direction. Meanwhile, the boys, we get the return of Paul Reiser. We just talked about him earlier in the day.
The legend.
Paul Reiser. What?
The legend. His name's
the legend. Yes, the legend who is incognito.
Chet Vanderbilt.
Chet Vanderbilt working at a movie theater, who is the only person who might possibly know where to find a Bombsight, but he doesn't. But he does know where Bombsight's love resides, and it's in this retirement home / community for Soups. Kumiko and Butcher and Mother's Milk head over there to try and talk her into getting Bombsight to come out. We learned that the reason why he has V1 is because he was hoping to give it to what was her name?
The
Golden Geisha.
Golden Geisha.
Can we just touch on real quick how excited Kimiko is and a fan of Golden Geisha with all her porn exploration, which is absolutely hilarious. She's like, her face just lights up like a kid in a candy.
But the other side of it, it's funny because like the serious side of it though, and this is something that I find really interesting because it's why when so many people complain about like things going woke. And this idea, and it's not because like white people aren't on the show; they're all over the show. But in entertainment, it does have meaning that there are things out there, and this is a very real sort of moment of conversation in the ridiculousness of why she's a fan. That it's just like to see someone who looks like me out there. Like we've talked about this on other shows. It's a huge moment. It's a big moment, and it saves her life. Like at the end, because Golden Geisha protects her later on. Like they have this connection, even though she is angry with him over and over and over again. And so, in trying to lure out Bombsight, they actually get an unexpected ally in Sister Sage, who says, I just want to hide in my bunker. She continues to manipulate folks. Says that she knows how to get him to come out, that he will, and that she's going to help them. And I'm just going to say this up front. And and Ray posted a fan theory. Sister Sage acts all surprised when Soldier Boy hands over the V1 as if she didn't see it coming. I think she totally saw it coming. I think she set it all up. I think she left the Taco Bell receipt out on purpose. I think she did it all so that this could happen. I do not think she is surprised. I think she knows more, and she's still pulling the strings on this whole thing. But she, in this whole setup, is expecting Homelander and Soldier Boy to fight over this V1 and eventually hand it over to them. That does not happen. Soldier Boy, in their joint love of a crazy Nazi lady who,
why don't you reveal
sex with Homelander, like their shared love of her Aryan race purity superhero archetype is why he hands over the V1 that eventually leads to Womp Womp, an injection by Homelander, and laser beams shot into the sky.
Why don't you talk about that fan theory that Ray brought out? Because part of that is that V1 can't be introduced to somebody who already is fueled by Compound V.
Right. And that Sister Sage hoped she would, or was setting it up that he would do it because it will then kill him.
Right. And the thing about it is Maeve could get the V1 if there's more, because she doesn't have powers anymore.
Right. Exactly. And so, in that conversation with Ashley, they talk about, Ashley's.
Oh, what a hilarious scene that
where she's walking back.
The chloroform.
Which, by the way, the actress who played Ashley doing all the backwards walking, I'm assuming that was her, not a stunt double. That's always great stuff. Like, that is very, very difficult to do. But in that conversation where she's trying to read Soldier Boy, and in the reading of Soldier Boy, like, she's like, oh no, he can't stand him. He wants him to die or whatever. But she's holding a notebook or something with Maeve's, like a cartoon drawing of Maeve. And, in the world of where things are never an accident, like, Sister Sage is too smart to not anticipate what would have happened. Like, all the way through this, she has anticipated and known exactly what people do. She even proves it to Mother's Milk. Like, because Mother's Milk is like trying to talk trash. She's like, you already know what you're going to do. Like that you're going to do this way. So great stuff. And this then leads into the final two episodes, right? Where maybe we have an OP out of control until the twist happens with Homelander, whatever that twist is, whether it's that he can't handle V1 because of the Compound V or something else. It'll be very intriguing. I think next episode is going to be a little dark. We also got a fun confrontation between Annie and Reverend what?
I don't know. Yeah, what's his name?
The preacher. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Drink.
Okay.
W. Diggs. That doesn't lead to a fight. Does lead to a little bit of a confrontation where you learn that the two of them knew each other from like church camp and stuff from before, that this guy is willingly selling himself out because he feels like it's helping his church and he feels like he's on the right side, and that's about to burn him in a bad way. Huey comes to her aid with he willing to sacrifice the virus that they were going to, that they were going to set up in the church with a little air freshener spritz to like kill them all off and see that the virus works. He protects Annie over it. And we also get the revelation that Annie and Kumiko are choosing to die, and that, Golden Geisha kind of makes it clear why they're choosing to die, because she didn't want to live forever. The idea of living forever and being alone was horrible. And Annie and Kumiko both have talked about they don't want to watch Huey and Frenchie, die in any way from old age or otherwise. Like, if this were to happen and they were to be saved, like, they don't want that. And so they're making a choice to die. But we also saw another thing where, as was pointed out, if Maeve can lose her powers, and Soldier Boy, said he could make Bombsight lose his powers and blasted him, and suddenly they're gone. Maybe there's another way. We'll have to see.
2 episodes left. Should be interesting.
2 episodes left before it's all done and we close the book on the boys. How have we felt about where this season has gone? I like this better than season 4. I was really down in the dumps in season 4. That was such a despairing series to watch.
No, I think
season to watch.
I agree with you. I like when we started this whole triple show thing, I was like, I'm looking forward to the boys the least. And it's really redeemed itself in the last season, kind of got back to its roots and used everything that they've done before. It's nice that when you can bring all the main characters back for the story and bring everything full circle. There's 2 episodes left, man. I mean, I would imagine we're going to probably get the biggest resolution at the end of this episode. And the last episode's kind of going to be vetting out the future.
Such as it is, because Gen V is canceled. That is no longer there. I don't know. Is there, Dave? Do you know? Are there more boys spinoffs or anything in the works that you're aware of? So
not
after
that
they
I'm
canceled
aware
Gen
of.
V.
Yeah, not
right.
that I'm.
So
Isn't it? One thing we didn't touch on. I'm sorry, real quick, is that Paul Reiser's character is like the only guy that's ever said he said the nicest thing to Homelander ever, and Homelander let him go because of it. It's the only time Homelander's ever felt any kind of compassion because he finally got an honest to God compliment from somebody.
Right. The world was unfair to you, kid. We were unfair.
Right. Well, that and the fact that I think where'd we talk? We talked with Ray about this the other night, didn't we, Tony? About how Paul Reiser's character, the Legend, he wasn't scared of Homelander, and Homelander respected that.
Yep.
Because and that's
like,
what
he tells him you're a total whack job, but that just comes with the talent, and that gives Homelander an excuse in his brain to be how he is. Right. All he's ever been looking for is a reason why he is who he is, and he gave him
somebody. Yeah, he did. Somebody who respected him and wasn't afraid of him and wasn't just going to say what he wanted to say to save their ass. So, yeah, I thought this is a tremendous episode. You've got so many things going on in this one, and you touched on all the big parts of it, Pat. I think with the end of the whole thing, Soldier Boy did. I don't know. Did they ever flesh that out in previous seasons that he could take people's powers away like he did with Bomb Sight? Because that was kind of new.
We knew that because he just did it with the dead guy on the wall.
Right. We saw it. We saw it previously. So
okay.
That's how they're establishing it. So there is a world where Annie and Kumiko maybe lose their powers because Soldier Boy blasts them and they just become people.
Yeah, I mean, if he could take powers away and take their stuff away, and then the virus won't kill them, it might kill everybody else if the V is removed from their bloodstream. Maybe you've got something there. Or if he can take powers away, can he restore powers as well?
Yeah. So
man, Wizards won the draft lottery. Thank you, gosh.
Yeah, that's good.
But I was going to say, Pat, I wanted to ask you this: when Homelander gets the V1 in his system, right, and the lasers shoot up. To me, that harkened back to Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 7, like, Part 1 of that, where Voldemort gets the Elder Wand and holds it up. And I'm like, we're fucked up. And even Butcher, who is not scared of Homelander, tells everybody, run, because he knows it's over at that point.
So this now leads to a return. And again, unfortunately, forgot to share the soundbite. So we won't play it here. But it is time to return to the Deadpool. We should have been doing the Deadpool all season for this season of the boys.
I said the other night, I was going to take the over on everybody. Do we have that as an option? Everybody dies.
No, you cannot take the option on everybody. But we've started to get this point of kind of a death a week. And so this week, who dies? I can go first if you'd like.
Yeah, go ahead and go first.
I think it's the Deep. I think this is the end of the road for the Deep. I think he doesn't make it to the final episode. He dies here.
The Deep, probably.
Yeah, I think the Deep's a safe bet.
Because he feels like he's going to probably stand up to Homelander now, because he didn't want the pipeline to begin with, right?
Yeah, I think Soldier Boy might be on the chopping block. just because that would set up a pretty interesting final episode. Because like I like what you're saying, Tony. I don't think they resolve a whole lot here in episode 7 because they're putting the finale of the show in not just on Amazon, but in theaters with 4X and all that sort of stuff. So they're going to blow out a big final episode. Something major is going to happen about, what we're going to do. So I would expect there to be some more shocking stuff. And I know, Pat, I don't want to go out of order with the rundown, but like you're one of the articles on the rundown that you want to talk about later almost kind of ties into what this stuff we're talking about with the whole notion that, these are filler episodes. And it's like, I don't see that shit at all.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. We could talk about it now. We'll talk about it now and then go into the commercial.
It just makes sense here.
Eric Kripke did an interview. It was shared in an article on Variety where he just basically like responded to all the complaints that it seems that fans were having over the previous episode because they didn't see the point. And he made it's so fun to talk about this because I was just listening to another podcast that talked about Kurosawa, right? You've heard of Kurosawa? Seven Samurai, Japanese director, very, very famous, well before our time. And he always talked about this thing that he did intentionally in films called Ma. And these two podcasters are talking about it, and it's these moments that set up the meaning for bigger moments. And literally what Kripke is talking about as he kind of rails on fans over complaining about the episode 5 being quote filler is he's like, you have to have that episode to make the finale make sense. And he was like, what do you want? A fucking blowout fight every episode? He's like, you can't do that. And he's right. You can't do that. To do that kind of kills the damn thing, right? Like it makes it less meaningful. And what we got out of that episode 5, was you got motivations of so many other characters as to why they do what they do. You got to learn why Firecracker felt trapped where she was, that there was no way out. That like, because she didn't want to go along with the God thing, but she was going to do it because she didn't know that she didn't see a way out of it. Like, you understand why Sister Sage joined up with Homelander in the first place, because she sees an opportunity to finally be at peace with herself. Like, you need those. And it explains the threads that are going to lead to the conclusion. Like, if you don't have Sister Sage and Ashley getting drunk talking about her plan, we don't know. We have nothing to set up what is going to be a big final 2 episodes.
Yeah,
so,
I agree with you.
Anyway,
I agree with you completely. I never saw them as filler. I thought it's a storytelling mechanism.
Right. I do worry about Sister Sage's chances of surviving next week too. But I think she's gonna make it to the end. I think her or the Deep's going next week. I lean more towards the Deep before Sister Sage, but he's also an OG character. He's one of the few OG members of the boys from season 1 that is here at the end.
That's true. But I
think he's dying. He's so dying. He's dying. Our buddy Ray's in the chat, folks. If you're following along, he pointed out he thinks Butcher dies. I think Butcher dies in the finale. I think Huey kills him. I think that's how it's going to go. I think Andy's going to make it. I think Kumiko's going to make it. I don't think Mother's Milk makes it. I think he's going to die, or maybe he won't. Maybe he'll reconnect with his family. Definitely think Butcher dies.
The big
obviously,
question is,
I think
of course,
Homelander.
Does Homelander die? And how do they get rid of? I'm just wondering, did Soldier Boy do something in the brief moment he had that V1 to taint it? Or I don't think so. I think he really genuinely, he was slowly but surely, you could see him developing a respect and admiration for his son, for lack of a better term, because he is his son. But what role does Ryan play in this? He's going to have to play. And here's the one thing that I'm wondering, and I think I mentioned this to Ray. With Gen V being canceled, you've got 2 episodes left. They got to get Marie Moreau into this whole thing at some point. Otherwise, now that would be a true wasted opportunity to not introduce her at all in these last 2 episodes as a potential way to, because her powers are all blood based and blood control. And if that's true, there's a theory that, well, she could control Homelander's blood and do something with the V to combust that, or I don't know. But yeah, I think the last 2 episodes are going to be great. Sage, can she outsmart Homelander one more time to survive? That's a big question. Go ahead, Tony. Sorry.
Yeah,
No,
Dave and I
good.
kind of dominated that.
No, you're fine. It doesn't look like, the rumors are that she does not show up.
So that's a wasted opportunity.
Do either of you, sorry, just because I'm morbid about this and we are a gambling culture, do either of you have like a DraftKings or one of those gambling side accounts?
What's the
What's
new
one
one?
with Bryson DeChambeau talking
Yeah,
about?
you can bet on anything. Is that Kalshi or something like that?
Yeah, does anybody have one of those? Because I'd be really interested to see where the odds are on character deaths, because there's got to be bets out there. Like there's got to be odds.
I mean, what are the odds that Homelander kills everybody and is just miserable then afterwards, realizing that there's no one left then?
What's Polymarket say about that?
There you go. Yeah, it's Polymarket. I think Kalshi's a Polymarket. Right.
You all look that up, but we're going to take our second commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about a couple other pieces of news around the nerdosphere and talk a little bit about a legend in entertainment who left us this past week. So stick around for that. You're listening to Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot.com. Tony is shaking his head no. So we're just going to roll right into it. And Dave, I'm going to be quiet for 2 seconds real quick. All right. Welcome back, everyone, to Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, a part of the Chairshot.com. We remind you to always use your head. We don't know what's happening. Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. But we talked about Eric Kripke kind of going off on fans and their reaction to a specific episode and kind of making a good point. We had another a person, one Mr. Joe Russo, half of the Russo brothers directing duo that is bringing us Avengers Doomsday. And he had some thoughts about spoiler culture and talked about how spoiler culture certainly seems to have gone, I don't know if too far is the right word, but that there is an over policing by fans with regards to spoilers, to the point that fans are afraid to engage with any material surrounding their franchises. On one hand, audiences want to be surprised, and that's part of what makes the theatrical experience exciting. On the other hand, it can become a little over-policed, where people are anxious about engaging with anything. Now, I think on our podcast, amongst the 4 of us, Ray's not here.
Yes, he's making that known to us in the chat.
Right. Well, I take umbrage with show goes to shit. We had a sort of commercial. There'll be one in the podcast. Anyway, LOL, Ray's giving us a hard time. I think that we have a varying degree of people when it comes to spoilers. I have always been very much a not spoiler-free guy. Don't care. Have been spoiled so many times. I'm going to give it an example not related to what we do here. When we get to What You Watch, I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. But right now, the World Series of Bowling is going on. And I record these tournaments and these shows before they happen. The PBA spoils the winner of those tournaments literally moments like any sporting event, like literally moments after it's done. I still go back and watch it. I can enjoy it. When I see plot points or things that come out, I don't get mad about it. It doesn't bother me. In fact, I look forward to seeing how they actually play out and whether they're legit. I know there's been certain shows that we have been excited about that members of our team have been like, I don't want to know anything. I want to go in completely blank slate. Don't want to know anything about it. And then I think there are a few folks that are somewhere in the middle. What I don't like is that there is this weird and Joe Russo, I'm sorry, is part of this. Because do you recall when they put out the tweets for Endgame and it was like, please be respectful of those who haven't seen the movie yet. Don't spoil it for anybody else. So to say that we're over policing when you literally put out messages to people not to spoil shit is a little hypocritical, but I also agree. I think people really lose their mind over entertainment sometimes in a way that is, I would say, unnecessary. Gentlemen, where do you stand in the land of spoilers and spoiler culture these days?
If it's important enough to you, you'll find a way to avoid the spoilers. That's really my theory on it. Being a wrestling fan, being a pop culture fan, all this other stuff. Like, there are times when I don't have a chance. Like, I'll be honest with you, I fell asleep last night in between the John Cena announcement and the main event, right? Those are the last two things. And in that vignette before the main event, I fell asleep. So when I woke up in the morning, I didn't go on X. I didn't go in any text threads. I went on Disney Plus and found the end and made sure I got to watch it my own. If it's that important to you, you'll find a way to stay spoiler free.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind some spoilers. Some level of spoilers are fine and that sort of thing. Do I want the biggest moments spoiled for me? And no, I don't want to do that. But the whole notion about people being afraid to engage with anything because of this whole spoiler culture is one thing. I think the bigger problem is like, and specifically it's like doomsday related, is like, you don't really know what or who you're engaging with half the time. It's like, am I engaging with something that's real, or is this trailer fake? I mean, they've caught me a few times, engaging in a trailer that I thought was real, realize, oh, that's AI, it's fake, that sort of thing. So I think, from the standpoint of, do I want the biggest moments ever spoiled for me? No. Do I care about certain things that are like, if characters are going to show up, do I care? No, I don't care. That's fine. But I think Tunney's right. If you really want to keep yourself away from it, there are ways to do that.
You know where I first saw people getting nuts over spoiler culture, though? It wasn't Marvel. It's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I remember, and not even book 7, Harry Potter book 6 came out on my wedding weekend. I think it came out like the night before. It was like midnight on my wedding day that it came out. And my wife had purchased a copy to be waiting for me when I came back. I was really, really excited to have this book. However, it was gifted to me by one of my groomsmen as they ended up with an extra copy. And it was hilarious because my wife had asked my best man to do everything in his power to keep me from going to a midnight book release, getting this book. But anyway, neither here nor there. For those of you who haven't read book 6 at this point, shame on you, or seen the 6th movie. But there was a t-shirt that was floating around that used to crack me up that said Dumbledore dies on page 637 or something like that. And that was the first exposure I had to like somebody shitting on people wanting to be spoiler free. And it's hilarious because that shirt is completely worthless. It's a moment in time, really, just for around that book release, but it was effective. So
I think
Potter
that was when people really lost their damn minds about stuff.
I do think I want to be entertained, and I do like being surprised. I do see Mr. Russo's point. I do think that Marvel, in particular, the MCU, and the lengths that they go to be secretive, even to their own cast, to the point where folks may not necessarily know even how or who they're interacting with when they get scripts, is kind of nuts to me. But Marvel also wants to protect that stuff. So I don't know. It's a fun little conversation to have. I do think people need to relax a little bit. Maybe throw back a Miller Lite or something like that.
Can I tell you one of the best spoiler related troll jobs of all time?
Sure.
So, you've been to Six Flags. You went to Six Flags last weekend. So there's a ride out here at Magic Mountain called Full Throttle. And we went there like right when Endgame had come out. And the ride is set up where, you kind of creep up to the part, and then you're sitting there, and then they hit a button and you launch. It's one of those launch rides, right? So the guys who were running the ride, they sat there and we crept up to the end, and they were like talking to each other, and it's like they're like looking at each other and they're talking. It's like, the biggest thing that I can't believe is like, what happens to Iron Man in Endgame, and everybody in the car is like looking at these guys like, what? And he says, yeah, Iron Man, and he hits the button and you just take off and you don't hear the end of it.
Stuff.
It's like,
that's good
that
stuff.
was awesome. So
you see YouTube clips of guys doing that too, where they're like, oh wait, something's wrong with the thing,
and then they drop them,
and then they turn around and they hit it, and the people are fucking shitting their pants.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, troll jobs are, they're always something else. All right, let's move on to our next to last entertainment related stories. Matt Reeves finally shares a couple photos from the Batman 2, and the reactions crack me up because all he shared were a couple of photos of the Batmobile in snow. And Dave, what are people now saying? What do you think they're now saying? Who's the bad guy now?
Right. Yeah, who's the bad Mr. Freeze? Are we
Thank
gonna
you.
have
Suddenly this
Mr.
is
Freeze
evidence
No.
that Mr. Freeze is the bad guy.
No.
No. They've already got, that's so dumb though. We already know who's in this. The cast gives it away. It's the Penguin and the Joker to a certain extent, So whatever.
No. It can only snow in Gotham if Mr. Freeze is around. Because it's actually, I don't know if you guys knew this. There's a special time location displacement thing that actually puts Gotham on the equator. So it's never winter.
I could only hear you making that statement as if you were to do it as Retainer Boy.
No.
Oh, damn it.
Retainer Boy is not here for your demands, sir.
It's wait. Wasn't it in like the Batman, the second one, Batman Returns with Michelle Pfeiffer? Wasn't it snowing like most of
it was wintertime. It was Christmas.
It's a Christmas movie, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, the whole forum with Christopher Walken is out in the public square there with the big tree and it's snowing.
Yeah.
So the biggest takeaway I took from these two photos is that the Batmobile is more of a muscle car, it looks like.
Right. I kind of like that. I like my Batmobile to look like
this is more of a gritty Batman too. It's not like a guy who needs like this souped up sports fucking, rocket that he's in either.
Right. It's not the Christopher Nolan tank. It's not the crazy Tim Burton looking Batmobile. I thought it was so funny that something as silly as the fact that this takes place in the wintertime had people running to be like, Mr. Freeze is showing up. Because as you noted, Dave, it makes no sense. And it's what I love about our people, nerds. Nerds, I love you guys so much because we love this speculation part of things that don't exist yet, even when it's silly and you know better. And this is an example of when it's silly and you know better.
It'd be like if they showed a clip of Robert Pattinson having breakfast at a diner. They're like, "Oh, Egghead is the villain in this one. He's having breakfast.
He's eating eggs.
Yeah, it's Egghead. Holy shit!"
Some dude with a funny shaped head in the background, and everybody's like, "There he is!"
Oh my god, Dan Aykroyd's gonna be a conehead. No, I don't know.
Oh god, no. Dan Aykroyd is actually consulting on the upcoming Ghostbusters animated series that's coming out. Ooh. So, yeah, he's involved there. A little bit of little tidbit for you all. Let's head into our last major story in the world of entertainment in general. And yes, we are thechairshot.com. We are sports, we are entertainment, we're sports entertainment. We talk about popular culture, we talk about sports news, we talk about wrestling. And if there is a man who had his fingers in all three in his lifetime, Ted Turner is that man. And there's probably going to be plenty of wrestling podcasts that are going to talk about the impact that Ted Turner had in pro wrestling within his networks. And
I'll bet you there was a few this week on the Chair Shot.
That probably have already talked about that.
Check out, yeah.
So I'm going to acknowledge how important professional wrestling was to the formation of TBS and Turner brought, and the Turner Company in general, and keeping them going and alive because of that being cheap, reliable entertainment that brought in an audience. It's also why he cashed in a lot on syndicated reruns for a lot of his programming initially. So I want to get that out of the way, because if we had done Four Corners this week, which, sorry folks, there's no Four Corners this week, we would have talked about Ted Turner's influence on sports, because Turner Sports, the Atlanta Braves, the Atlanta Hawks, like the role that him being an owner of that team and using and having Braves broadcast be exclusive to TBS for a long, long time as the local affiliate, much like for me in Illinois, WGN was for the Chicago Cubs. Like, you could always count on those two national networks that existed to have those two teams on as big. But the other thing that Ted Turner does that I don't think gets enough credit for, and I'll say this, is he was an independent. He really was the businessman who, independent of the establishment, created something that is enduring, and is now airing the Stanley Cup Finals on TNT, and TBS and True TV, because of how they've been bought out by Paramount and are owned by CBS. The NCAA basketball tournament, those for that first weekend and second weekend to an extent, those networks are getting on there. But he also saved so many classic films by purchasing classic libraries for Turner Classic Movies to have special features available on his networks that now you can use as a repository on HBO Max. Like, they still have the TCM hub. Ted Turner revolutionized. Ted Turner's the reason why news exists the way that it exists now, with the formation of CNN. Now it's been perverted and is grotesque in the way that news is now delivered, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. Like, we got to have an opinion about the news. But Ted Turner built that, and truly was a giant. married Jane Fonda, like, was the envy of many a human being, because he married Jane Fonda, and he was in the spotlight. Like, you knew he was there, but in my opinion, he never dominated in a way that made us tired of him. The only time that, wrestling fans gave a shit about him was when WCW, picked up Hogan and Savage, and then the billionaire Ted sketches happened. But as an entertainment person, like, and as a mogul, Ted Turner was massive. And, he lived a full life. He lived to be 84. He was battling cancer. Was it cancer or something? Like, he wasn't healthy. He wasn't well. But you have to acknowledge how important he's been to entertainment and popular culture. Dave, go ahead.
Like you said, the three things the Chair Shot covers: sports entertainment and sports entertainment. He had his fingers in all that stuff. And Tony and I talked about Ted from the wrestling standpoint on the latest edition of Attitude of Aggression the other night, that Ted getting in the wrestling business and kind of, initiating the Monday Night War. And it really, he caused, I think we talked about it the other night, he really caused Vince McMahon to alter his strategy and do things differently, or else he was going to be locked in the new generation era and all that stuff. But from the standpoint of, like, TBS nationalizing a sports broadcast, which WGN followed, which there's what's the one in New York? New York has a broadcast.
Yeah, I know. Yes.
Right. Yeah. They copy that whole thing, and it's ironic, the ties with him and Vince McMahon, or with Vince nationalizing the WWE and kind of getting that idea, I think, to a certain extent, from what Ted was doing, which was nationalizing cable and making it a huge, big thing on that front. So yeah, Ted Turner's influence on so many different aspects of things really redefined how we consume news, how we watch sports, many aspects of entertainment. Like you're saying, Pat, his ability to give classic movies a new home, a new permanent home, so they weren't just lost to the archives of wherever forever, is massively important.
It's funny, the parallel between Ted Turner and Vince McMahon, right? Like, Vince's father, Vince took what he had and turned it into, a modern day empire. Well, few people know that in 1963, Ted Turner took over his father's billboard company
Mhm.
and turned it into a global empire. Pretty crazy, hey? Yeah, you guys already mentioned all the accomplishments, all the roots that he has in so many different walks of Americana, from CNN to wrestling to sports. The guy's won. He's in the Television Hall of Fame. He's won Peabody Awards. He started a foundation to help America support the United Nations. He started a foundation to help regulate nuclear arms across the globe. Like, the guy was just a forward thinker and a great benefit to society in America and the globe in general.
Yeah, well said. And so, yeah, raise a glass. Happy trails, Ted Turner. There's few like you. All right, let's move in on that note. I do want to put this out. We're going to do this publicly, gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, no, don't be scared.
I was drinking. I'm sorry.
I have an inclination as to where I want to go, but I figured I'd open it up and I would ask Ray too. A couple of weeks ago, I had talked to you about how much I loved the opening title credits and sequence and music for Daredevil Born Again. So much so that it's one of the few that when you have the option to skip, I don't skip it. I watch it every single time. And this feels like either a draft or a project. And so I'm going to ask you, we've been known as, like, when it comes for me, it's usually been a project. But I would like to do something around our best / list, I don't know how you want to define it, of greatest television intros of all time. And I will be categorizing them because that's how our projects worked. We usually do multiple. So we can either do a draft, or, as I mentioned before, we can do project style the way we've done on previous projects.
So my suggestion would be to marry the two and specify the parameters on what you can draft, because when we do a draft, say it's 4 or 5 deep, you get 16 or 20 different ones. When we do a list, you don't necessarily get that many different ones because we just raise our hand and wait till the end. So I feel like we'd get a broader variety with the draft.
Reasonable take, Mr. Ungar?
I would say I'd probably go the opposite direction and say project.
Well, fuck
Just
you,
to-
Dave.
Just to be
really.
contrarian. It's just because I like, for something
This
like
is
that.
why I just make decisions for you.
Yeah, for something like that, I don't want like my choice to be wiped out just because somebody else drafted it first. If there's something I really want to talk about,
Well,
something
You
it's
don't
gonna
think we're
get
not going
talked-
to let you talk about it?
Well, you're
Well.
still going to get to talk about it. Someone else is just going to get to draft it. Whereas,
Tony, you
so
know
like
what I
if you-
just heard there? We have to mute everybody else and only the person who drafted. Like, we will censure Dave throughout the whole process.
you missed my entire point, Dave. Like,
I
my
heard your
point is
point.
we get to talk about 16 to 20 different things for sure, as opposed to probably like cut it in half because we're all going to have the same shit in our list.
Well, maybe. I think our
No, you got to
range-
remember, Dave's like super old, dude.
Yeah,
Either
our
way,
age-
you
you guys are
talk about
burying
it.
yourself
Or
age-wise
you
on
talk-
this show, but no,
Very.
I mean,
I'm
I
in
like-
my prime. What?
yeah.
I'm prime. Look at me.
I like the projects, and we haven't done a project in a while. I mean, it's been a long time since we did a project. We've done some drafts, and
What's that?
when's the last time we did a project?
It's a draft project.
Okay, there you go.
Well, maybe we'll get right away into. We'll figure it out. I figure we're going to cover 2 shows next week. I want to get past the boys before we get into it. It'll be more of a June thing than a July thing, or than a May thing. So I think we're good there. And I want to wrap it before I leave for Europe in July. So I don't want to make it too much of a focus.
You're
of the
going
show.
to Europe in July.
Going to Italy.
Yeah,
Oh,
see,
that's
Tony
nice.
pays attention.
That
That's
was
why
a-
he's the
that was
commish.
That was a year ago. You told us about that.
Yep. I'll be missing at least 2 shows in July, around July.
I
20th
remember
or so.
because we had talked about meeting up at SummerSlam, and Patrick's like, "Nope, we'll be in Italy."
Yes, see, that is true.
Nice.
I will. It is going to be hotter than Hades.
Don't worry,
It's
I
like
don't think.
peak summertime in Italy.
Don't
My
worry, I don't think
daughter's-
we're meeting up at SummerSlam.
Yeah, my
That's
daughter's in Poland right now. She made it to Europe before I did. So
Look at that.
happy
All
birthday
right.
to her.
All right, let's wrap this bad boy up. Let's head into what you're watching. We'll start this week. We'll start with you, Dave, because you missed last week, and I know you've watched a ton of stuff that you've texted me about. So I want to give you a floor.
Yeah, I mean, in the last couple weeks, I finished season 1 of Severance. These are all Patrick O'Dowd suggested shows, and I will gladly admit he was absolutely right about that. Season 1 of Severance was phenomenal. I got to get into season 2. I finished Pluribus, which was another amazing show, just so well done. Can't wait till they get season 2 of that. And I just started watching Maul Shadow Lord, and the reason I did that is because it's been getting some really good buzz and some good reviews from a lot of our nerd centric and nerd adjacent sort of things. And like my niece last night was saying, and she doesn't watch animation. We couldn't get her to watch Invincible. And she's like, even she's watched Maul Shadow Lord. She said, this is really good. The best animated show I've ever seen. So I'm like, all right, I'll check it out. After one episode, it's very good. And I'm like, okay, and the episodes are short. They're like 25, 30 minutes long. So it's like, well, this will be an easy watch to get through these 10. So, but yeah, Severance was amazing. Pluribus, just as good. So I'm looking forward to season 3. Well, I got to get through season 2 of Severance, but season 3 and season 2 of those 2 shows will be awesome.
Real quick, before you go to Maul is fine.
You could have said overrated, but
Okay.
Stop me if you've heard this before in a Star Wars show. Young Jedi, could they be good? Could they be evil? Oh no, there's a manipulative evil guy force that's going to challenge their look at life. We've done this 3 times.
How many times are we going to miss opportunities for Retainer Boy to show up today? How many times?
This is an opportunity to miss Retainer Boy, but 3. This is the 3rd Star Wars show. Like, if it was like, and here's the other thing.
It's your Star Wars show.
It is Star Wars.
He's slowly transitioning. He's getting there.
Coming out. He's starting.
Bruce Banner's turning into the Hulk.
Yeah, he's pushing his way out. Pat's gonna be like, no.
Star Wars has, and Darth Maul is easily the 2nd most overrated character in their canon, behind
Boba Fett.
Correct. And we just saw this in the Acolyte. We just saw this with the Bad Batch. We saw this with Rey. Now we're doing it again with Darth Maul. Like, fine, let's tell the story of how Darth Maul ran the Shadow Underground, became a mafioso in the Star Wars universe. But it's another young Jedi that's vulnerable. It's going to be manipulated by the bad guy. What are they going to do? Or quote unquote, the bad guy. And, in this transformation of Darth Maul into an anti-hero, whatever. I also think the anti-hero thing has gotten played way too much. It's okay to have a clearly bad guy. It's okay. It's fine. Right. It's me. Clearly the bad guy. And I'm fine with that. I accept my responsibility. The show itself, the quality of animation is great. The story's fine. It's not bad. I think that what this is more of an.
Have you watched it?
I've watched about 4 episodes of it so far. To me, it's more of an indictment of the low quality of Star Wars stories that have been told and series that have been put out, that we are so excited when something seems coherent that we jump on it and we get excited about it.
There's truth.
And there's no denying that Disney has a property. I shared the numbers of how much Star Wars was streamed on. It's like some ridiculous number of hours. It's not that it's not popular. I just don't think they tell good stories anymore. I do agree with Tony. I don't need another Skywalker story ever. Ever. We don't need one. Who cares? They just don't know what to do with it. And that's their own fault. So anyway, It's fine. I'm gonna finish it. I don't hate it, but it has not wowed me the way some people buzzed about it. I go back to the Eddie Murphy analogy of if you've been eating saltines all your life and somebody gives you a Ritz, you act all crazy for the Ritz until you just realize you're still just getting a cracker. Something like that. I messed it up. The analogy was like you're starving and somebody gives you a cracker and you get excited, and then they give you crackers every day.
There goes
That's
Eddie Murphy making fun of white people again. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, he was actually making fun of like sex.
I know.
I'm just saying, like, get away.
Okay.
Read,
Didn't land.
I see my moniker has changed. Thank you.
Billie Eilish sings your fucking theme song, by the way.
Hell yeah, she does. I want to once again tell you how excited I am about the idea of this book series that I'm reading, Dungeon Crawler Carl. Dave, I talked about this last week. It's going to be coming out as a series soon. Have you heard of these books?
No.
So the basic concept is that it's very Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, in the sense that Earth has basically been condemned by this like syndicate that gives Earthlings a chance to survive by going through an 18-floor dungeon. And when Carl, the main character, crawls into the first floor, it literally turns into an RPG video game with real people. Like he gets a heads-up display, he has stats, he gains skills, he gains experience as he kills creatures. There's boss fights, he gets loot boxes. I really want the little O'Dowd to read this book because I think he would love it. I think he would absolutely love it. And it's now getting turned into a series. It's got about 5 books or so. The first book I just finished, literally he finishes the first 2 floors of this 18-level dungeon. That's it. And so it's really going to stretch out. Really, really good stuff. And then last but not least, today, as this is being dropped, but Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday on the CBS Sports Network, we are in the World Series of Bowling tournaments. And this tournament is one of my favorite tournaments in all of bowling because these 4 tournaments that happened that started on Saturday, each one is based around a different classic oil pattern. Yesterday, as we're doing this live yesterday, Packy Hanrahan won the cheetah oil pattern. And the reason it is known as the cheetah oil pattern is a very short oil pattern, which means that balls tend to really take off when they hit outside of that pattern. And so you have to have a lot of control of a lane. The Chameleon tournament is happening kind of as we speak right now. And then I can't remember the other 2 patterns off the top of my head that are on CBS Sports Network Monday and Tuesday. And then all of this leads to a month from now where we have the World Championships of bowling. EJ Tackett, #1 seed there. But each of these patterns is its own tournament, and it's done in a bracket style tournament the way that most people understand a tournament to work. So it's a single elimination tournament to get to a final, which I do think is a race to 2 once you get to the championship.
So the other patterns besides cheetah that I know are like viper or scorpion, which are kind of the same thing.
Those are the other 2: viper, scorpion,
and
chameleon.
Then shark is the long pattern.
Yeah.
And then when you talk about like Kegel element patterns, they do neon or helium, which is like either, more floating, the helium, neon, a little bit more grabby as well. But I always benefited from a shorter oil pattern because I like to play a straight ball, so I could play a little bit bigger, harder hook as well. When it gets deep, my ball just slides into the pins.
Yep, slides right past everything.
What are we talking about here? I mean, my
bowling.
God, sorry.
So you got to understand oil patterns. You got to understand cover stocks, types of balls.
Dave, it'd be like if you and I started talking golf, and Patrick would be on the other side.
I bought a ball this season with about a third of the season left to go. It's made by Hammer. It is a pearl. It's a Zero Mercy pearl. Has a asymmetrical core and is I feel like it was built for bowlers like us. It is built for control on a lane, to go long down a lane with a late hook. for people who play the lane straight, it is. I love it. Fuck it. My scores have been going up hard since I bought that ball. It feels like it's built for me.
Yeah, you have to have that counterbalance in it appropriately for your speed and then for your angle as well, and that helps because you want a sharp finish. You really do.
Right. So that's what I'm watching. Tony, what are you watching, bud?
It's funny you're talking about bowling. I'll talk about golf, and I'll talk about YouTube, and I'll talk about the fact that I pay for every streaming service and have DirecTV, but I find myself watching free YouTube majority of the time, especially during the week. And I watch a lot of Grant Horvat and Good and Brian Bros, Mr. Short Game, Barstools Golf, and it's just a fun way to watch people a little bit looser, a little bit less formal, a little bit more fun, different concepts as opposed to always stroke play. But the best of all these YouTube golfers, in association with the Wynn in Las Vegas, are starting YGT, Your Golf Tour, and it's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be 4 different events, and it's going to involve some of the best people you know, and maybe some other famous people stepping in different places. But check it out. Follow at Your Golf Tour on YouTube, Grant Horvat's channel, Wesley Brothers channel, or the Brian Bros channel. Sorry, Wesley and George. But yeah, a lot of that's been going on. Saturday Night Live is almost to its end of its season. I can tell you the season finale is something you're going to want to check out. Will Ferrell and Paul McCartney are your guests to end season 51.
Cool. So yeah, stay tuned for all that. And I guess embrace bowling. And I'm sorry for ranting about Star Wars. I hope I didn't shit in your Wheaties too hard over Mall Dave. Like I just, it's like I said, it's fine. Like it's fine. It's perfectly acceptable. So
We'll see what happens.
Anyway,
See how it turns out.
Yeah, but we're gonna head out of here. Before we go, tell everybody how they can follow all of your work, because we've been working really hard on this website. We've been working really hard on this channel and this network. You know, Ray's not here to hear us heap the praises on how hard he's working. I hope you're still listening or following the show, Ray. I'm not sure if you are, but like we got a lot of good stuff going on. So tell the people how they can find the work that we do.
Head to, here we go. Thechairshot.com. Always use your head. It's really great. Right now we got Asian American and Islander Pacific month.
Asian
and we're
Pacific
doing
Islander.
Asian American and Island Pacificer month, right? AAIP. And we're doing a lot of journals and reaccounting a lot of their great careers. We're also doing something that's very apropos with this very podcast and a lot of what ifs in wrestling. Wrote a lot of cool articles. A lot of our people have jumped in on that today. It came out at the beginning of this show right there at Chairshot Media. I wrote an article, what if Sting had faced The Undertaker at WrestleMania 27? So check that out. Follow me at PC Tunney. Everything at Chairshot Media. And of course, don't forget about attitudeofaggression.com. There's another unidentified history coming out. It's already out probably on The Attitude of Aggression. It'll be out on Chairshot Radio Network this Tuesday. And then a big 5 is coming as well. We're finally into 97, Dave. We had a great time discussing, and a Ray run-in at the end, Royal Rumble 97.
We did have a Ray run-in.
What is Ray Cash doing in the Impact Zone?
Yeah,
my God, it's Ray.
My God, stay away from the Dippin' Dots, Ray.
All right, that was my fault. Damn it, I do this all the time.
Okay.
My bad.
Okay.
Tony gave away the website, attitudeofaggression.com, the Attitude of Aggression's YouTube channel. There's a lot of stuff going on over there. And yeah, facebook.com/attitude of aggression, where we started live streaming some of the episodes. But like Tony's saying, Survivor Series 97, or not Survivor Series, Royal Rumble 97. Sorry, Rob. Didn't mean to, Rob would be upset if we cover the Montreal Screwjob without him.
Yeah,
but
he'll be there.
He'll be there for that. I expect I'll be covering the big government UFO disclosure that happened a couple days ago. That'll be happening some this week. But yeah, lots of good stuff going on.
I'm so excited about that I don't know that I'll be able to watch it.
Let me just pimp real quick this show and DWI here on the Chairshot YouTube channel. You can find this show every week at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can find DWI live every week, like this show, at Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern, and Attitude of Aggression YouTube channel most Fridays. Right, it's when you want to check out some live stuff, whether it's Dave and I doing Unidentified History, the Big Five, and in 6 weeks,
or sooner.
House of the Dragon season 3.
We might do it sooner to recap the first 2 seasons.
That's true, but the debut happens then.
Yes.
So, there you go.
Yes.
That's what I'll be watching the last 2 seasons, Patrick.
Excellent. Sorry, Ray. I asked Ray if he wanted to do a draft or a list, and he didn't answer the question. He just sort of re-asked it. Anyway,
what did he say? What did he say? What did he say?
Because I was like, I'm wanting to do a project in June. Should we do a list, or how do you feel about changing things up and doing a draft? And he was like, "Oh, I'm all down for a project. Do we already have a list plan?" And I'm like, that was not the question, bro. So I'll answer that off camera.
I'll object for you that it's non-responsive. Sustained.
Tune in next week.
Well, we'll have an answer next week. I'll get back to him in a second. You can follow me on the socials at Wrestling Realist, as at WRESTLNGREALIST. You can catch me every Monday, Tuesday, and most Wednesdays. Although this Wednesday, it's going to be my fault that I'm not on the DeMarco show. Work beckons, so just laying it out there now, sir. But Mondays, I'm talking nerdy stuff with these guys. Tuesdays, I'm talking sports, usually with David Ungar. I'm ruining every podcast this week because I couldn't make 4 quarters this week. You're going to get something different. But usually it's talking sports with David Ungar. And then Wednesdays, I'm talking wrestling with Craig DeMarco when we feel like it. Once again, thank you everyone for listening. That's going to do it for this week's edition of Bandwagon Nerds. Now get yourself out of the basement. Get some sun. Go call your mothers and have a wonderful Mother's Day. You've been listening to Bandwagon Nerds here on the Chairshot Radio Network, part of the Chairshot